only chance you have no chance. If you had a chance, you need to run lickety-split. But you can't run because you're the baddest. Well, Ric Flair, you know what? I'm not a normal-looking athlete myself. You know what I'm talking about? I've been in the dens of life. It's a privilege and an honor to walk out with Ole Anderson, Lex Luger, and the Army tomorrow night.
I am not a happy camper. What is Bully Ray's motivation? You know, I know he loves sugar. But I check my pocket. I don't have no donuts. I don't have no cheeseburger. I know you love sugar, but I ain't got none.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here in Nashville, Tennessee, pal. I'm the man.
Look at a match for the total package, Lex Luger and Super Brawl. Super Saturday? What is it? I don't know what it's called. What is it called?
Super Brawl Saturday.
Super Brawl Saturday?
You don't lose faith in winners. And Ric Flair, day in and day out, every day of his life, just keep winning and winning and winning.
Ric Flair! New York City, Ric Flair! You're gonna find out what hard is all about! I do exactly what I want to do. You say I'm insane. I say thank you very much.
Make a good intro.
I hate God!
Hit the deck! Yes! We love you, Scott Steiner!
Today, I've got the star and profile like never before.
You guys talk about being students of the game. I am the game, JR.
What is going on, everybody? Have no fear. It's Friday night, and your dirt sheet dudes are here. Oh, yeah. I kind of like this one, man.
Yeah.
Another little royalty-free. I don't know who it's from. It doesn't even say. But kind of nice, man. Get you a little pumped up for this shit, you know?
That's right. And some audio Red Bull.
Yeah. What is up, Smark? How you doing over there, buddy?
What is going on, good sir? How are you tonight?
Oh, I am not bad. And I am Boxman, if anybody's wondering. Which, yeah, you're probably fucking not. Who cares, right? But I'm glad everybody's doing good. And, you know, there's... the fuck is going on in my house here? Actually, a good amount of... I know what's going on. Hold on. The volume was still on for the second monitor up here, which is basically a television we use for my daughter's music at night. And I still had the volume going. So you may hear that through. I apologize if you do, but it's off now. Do not worry. But yeah, there's actually a lot of stuff to get into tonight. We'll get into everything that there is to get out there. And SmackDown. SmackDown did happen tonight. We'll definitely get into that and get through it pretty quick. To be honest with you, Smark, and I'm going to kind of steal a Smarkism. This SmackDown was basically an infomercial for the main event with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. Pretty much with a few sprinkled in matches here and there. So I'm looking to get through SmackDown quickly And we got some audio to play. We've got a little bit of Sheamus. We've got a little bit of Matt Hardy, Mickey James, a couple others. And we've got a bunch of other stuff to get into. But I guess before that, we jump in, get these plugs done.
That's right. Get some plugs done. That sounded, the beginning of that sounded like a very sad rendition of like Mambo number 5. A little bit of Sheamus, a little bit of Mickey James.
Ah, I see. What happened to Mambo's 1 through 4?
Oh, there was a fire at the studio.
Ah.
The tapes got burned
4 times?
Mm-hmm. Well, not consecutively. They were all together.
Oh, they were together. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the Disney vault. It's just a collective.
Well, I mean, luckily it's not like the Capone vault. If you remember that with old Geraldo. Do you remember that? Were you like?
I wasn't alive for that, but I do remember, like, in the sense that I've seen, like, little documentaries and like little "I Love the '80s" type shit where they talk about how it's such a big deal, and then they finally opened it and it was jack shit, nothing in there.
Dude, I was watching that with my dad, and we're watching, and my dad's like, I can't wait to see what's going to be in this thing. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, there could be guns. There could be drugs from back then. Who knows what's in there? And then he opens it, and my dad, I swear to God, I thought he was going to throw the clicker, because they were connected still at the time to the television, to the cable box. I thought he was going to throw the clicker at the TV.
See, my question is, and I guess you sort of alluded to it, what would have been sort of like an appropriate thing that could have been in there that would have made it worth your while?
Well, here's the thing. Al Capone was never convicted on anything but tax evasion. They never got him on murder. They never got him on. At the time, it was prohibition, so they never got him on alcohol sales or anything like that. The only thing they could nab this guy for, the only thing that Elliot Ness can get him for, if you ever watched the movie Untouchables, excellent fucking movie, was tax evasion. So there really could have been a bunch of things in his safe that would have been like, if only they could, if only they could have gotten there back then.
Right.
There, like I said, there could have been guns. Those guns could have been tied to more murders. I don't know if we could have tied them to them back then. There could have been, drugs from back then. There could have been alcohol. There could have been cases and cases of old liquor or whatever. And all we got was a big fat goose egg. And my dad was so pissed because literally it was like 3 hours of watching them dig and try to get in this safe. But it was really cool to watch. But, I mean, Geraldo has made a joke of himself so many times, dude.
He certainly has.
I mean,
as one of the lower on the end of the spectrum of controversial things that he's been a part of.
And he's still doing it, believe it or not. He's still out there yelling at people. He was yelling at Dan Bongino a few weeks ago, telling him he's a son of a bitch and a punk. And, I mean, he's still doing it. But, I mean, guy got his nose broke by a KKK member.
They fucking parodied that on UHF. It was amazing. The Weird Al movie.
Well, it's a Weird Al movie. Of course they did.
Yeah. I actually feel like that was underrated, UHF. I really enjoyed that. I don't know how it plays nowadays because Michael Richards was a big part of that movie. So it's kind of like having O.J. Simpson and The Naked Gun. It's just like certain things.
Yeah, I mean, I even that O.J. thing in The Naked Gun just kind of. I mean, he's in there so little. It's not like he's got this huge, massive part in all the movies. I don't even care. They're great movies either way. I'm a Leslie Nielsen guy. I think he's
absolutely
I love his dry humor and good shit right there. But real quick, let's go ahead and knock these plugs out, Smark, and then we'll get into some SmackDown, I guess. Again, I could sit here and talk Al Capone and shit like that all day, but. And I could make fun of Geraldo for literally probably another 3 hours. Really, I could. But let's not do that. that's probably not going to be the best thing for us to do. So let's go ahead and play a little bit of this behind there. And, of course, let's talk about the high marks. Who are they? It's Cheeseman, it's Mojo, and G-Wiz. Where are they? Mixer.com/Metal Network. That's right. I do not stutter. Not there, at least. It is 2 T's in Mixer.com/Metal Network. Check them out, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Sundays. That's right, the high marks once again. Check them out. And, of course, Bobby Anthem, Bobby Blades. Go ahead and subscribe to the Inhumans over there on the Inhuman Experience. They are on all the usual podcast platforms. Subscribe, binge listen, enjoy yourself. I promise you will. And the Everything Unscripted Wrestling Podcast. Oh, Eric, Doug, and Daniel over there. They are good guys. I will be hosting Settle It in the Ring, so I will be the one settling shit in the ring. I am basically the fucking ref, the host of the little thing. It's basically a debate. It's what it is. I'll give you all a small hint. The topic is tag teams. There you go. So check them out over there, Blog Talk Radio. I think we're going to be doing it right around 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can check them out on Blog Talk Radio and all the usual podcast platforms. Stephen Milan, always sharing the show. Always appreciate it. Check him out, letterboxd.com/Stephen Milan, 2 L's in Milan. And you guys know where to find us: Stitcher, iHeart, Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, blah, 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 blah. Smart, go for it.
Yes, sir. Mondays, 8:30 on the Melmet Podcast Network on the Mixler device. Be sure to check out our friends, Cheese on Sports, with the Cheese Man, the Cheese Master of ceremonies himself. I was actually on covering the draft with those gentlemen. I had a lovely time, so I recommend that you check that out if you feel so inclined. If you were already there, shout out to you. Also, Sundays, 10:30 a.m. on the Metal Mid Podcast Network. Be sure to listen with your ears that are connected to your face, I would hope, to the Motor City Machine Guns with Mojo and Dirk. And last but never least, be sure to check out the Planet Raconteur. That's the Planet Raconteur podcast with Bobby Anthem, Papa Dave Sincere, and Yug Nasty. Check out all 16 episodes and be sure to subscribe so that you will be ready for season 2. Weather's heating up, and I tell you what, you head to the beach. Beaches are getting open now. The mask mandates are being let down. And what you're going to do, now that you can start connecting with people again, you're going to want to have your phone or speaker system or whatever. You go ahead and you place a Planet Rack on tour. The ladies hear Bobby's voice, and they just flock to you. You're going to thank me. You're going to thank me.
Absolutely. You will, and they will. Trust me. They're going to be like, who's that guy? We're like, yeah, it's my boy Bobby. And they'll be like, oh, can I meet him? Be like, hang out with me a little bit first. Maybe we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you play the road. You can play the roadie role. It's like, I can pull some strings. I can arrange a sit down with Mr. Bobby.
Jesus Christ, Bobby just talking bitches out of their panties.
I mean, we did the tribute to Shock G last week. I mean, if ever anybody got busy in a Burger King bathroom, it was all Bobby Anthem.
Absolutely. I don't know. He's a vegetarian. He's very healthy. I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, maybe.
Well, I mean,
maybe like a Whole Foods. Maybe a Whole Foods.
Well, that's true. I mean, they do got the Impossible Whopper these days, so they do have meatless options. But
you got a point. You got a point.
Bathroom.
There you got to put
it. Sounds a little less appetizing. It seems like there'd be a lot of like hair on places you might not want hair to be.
All right, so SmackDown.
Smooth transition, audio broadcasting professional.
That was a very, very, very deliberate hard transfer. Very.
I'm already going to nominate the phrase hard transfer as a show. I got a hard transfer for you.
Easy, buddy. Yeah, how about a subway up your ass, huh? All right.
I got a little bit of dice in there.
Ow! All right. Usually I hit the sound effect, but I really don't have them pulled up tonight. All right, so SmackDown. Got a few little things to get into. I did skip a few things. I mean, I skipped the women's match and everything. What am I going to say? Oh, look, Nia is shitty again. Bianca Belair, though, started out the show tonight after we got the little, recap of last week. Followed by, she was interrupted by Rude and Ziggler Smark. They were followed by the Street Profits. Then Bayley, who just literally walked out and laughed at everyone.
Yeah, it was like an odd continuation of last week because she came out and she had that whole promo about how great she thought Bianca Belair was and all of her accomplishments and all of this, that, and the third. And then she walked off, and then Bianca was trying to finish her promo. Bayley comes back and she goes, by the way, I forgot. Ha ha ha. So it's basically just a continuation of that.
Yeah, I mean, she was quickly laid out by Bianca, but just laughing at everybody. We get the brawl. I gotta say, this match was a little, man, I have a different word in my notes here. Clusterfucky at times, but definitely a damn good kickoff match. I mean, Montez Ford getting that hot tag and not even hitting the turnbuckle, just going off the ropes with that splash. Holy shit. That was good shit, man.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed that they've really come to take a shining to these sort of intergender tag team matches lately. We had the one on NXT with that whole big, it was like an 8-man with The Way and Shotzi Amber and, all that. Dexter Lumis was involved, that whole thing. Bronson Reed, that was it. That was the other guy. I was struggling to remember his name, but I got there at the end. Yay, me. But anyways, like I said, they've taken a shining to those. And they're usually pretty good because it's usually a good opportunity for, a lot of spots to happen at once. But like you said, it can be a bit clusterfucky at times. I do like that phrase.
Thank you. Thank you. It's kind of like clunky and clusterfuck in the same word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit clusterfuck, a little bit clunky, clusterfucky.
There you go.
I could even go cluster.
I'm trying to remember the word where you combine two words. There's a proper term for that.
Compound word? Compound? No.
Oh.
No. Okay. Anyway.
No, for whatever reason, my headphones stopped working, so I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said compound word?
That's it. That works. Yeah.
Yeah, look at me. I think I just remembered something from third grade. Wow. Ask me to remember yesterday. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But again, this show was a big infomercial, especially the first hour. I mean, we literally had 40 minutes left in the show, and we were already getting main event entrances for this show. So this was just a big, infomercial. Like I said, against Mark, I'm going to steal your word. I know it's not your word, but you know what I mean. For the whole SmackDown to just build right up to that main event, which, wow, they actually just decided to build a match for the whole show. We had a lot of people coming through here on this show and giving their predictions. We had Xavier, Kofi, Cesaro at one point, Baron Corbin, who looked like he was straight out of a 1970s fucking pimp movie. What the fuck was he looked like Rocky ended up in fucking Hawaii or something.
I remember that. That was a straight to video version of Rocky. Rocky Goes to Hawaii.
Yeah, it was Rocky 19. Rocky Goes to Hawaii.
There you go. I'm glad that we did get I don't know how glad I am, but Corbin did get some screen time, like you said. It had been 2 weeks. I know that there were certain people that were beginning to form sort of a all points bulletin for him, a search party.
I didn't do it. That's all I'm going to say. If y'all put out an APB on him, I didn't do it. Don't come to me. And yeah, I mean, look, I don't care if he drives a Ferrari. I really don't, Sacha Baron Corbin. You want to know what? At 23 years old, I had a Ferrari too.
You know what I had at 23 years old?
What?
A drinking problem.
Me too. Me too. But
I'm trying to think of like what would be the best, like the most accomplished thing that I did at 23. It wasn't much going on.
I was doing very well, dude. I had a couple of very big accounts down in Florida there. And the 90s were a great time for sales because people would buy from you because they liked you. And it was just a different time, man. It was just, now, literally, if someone gets a penny less on something, that's all they care about. It's price. It's got nothing. All people want to do is get 3 quotes, get the cheapest quote, and buy from that person. That's it. It's all they do now. It's tough. But back in those days, I had some very big accounts that were starting up. Manufacturing in Florida during those days was a lot different when I was 23. And yeah, I had a Ferrari 350 Spider, black T-tops, gorgeous. It's fucking gorgeous.
Nice.
Traded it in for I took a little 911 black again. I always like black cars. A black with a tan interior. Ferrari had almost like a maroonish interior, but the Porsche was nice. I liked the Porsche. I did. It was a nice car. To be honest with you though, Ferraris drive like when you're in them, they're really not comfortable cars. Really, really not.
In terms of like leg room, you're saying?
Legroom drive, they look great, but they're not like, man, I'm so luxurious in this car. It's kind of like just being in a really, really, really nice, go-kart with a really cool looking body. That's really how they feel when you're driving them. Yeah.
I mean, I've been in a couple of go-karts. Those are usually kind of fun.
Yeah. And I actually had a 308 GTB, which was the Magnum PI version, for about 3 weeks, and it ended up not running, which is what made me turn it in for the Spider.
Mm-hmm. This is like spurring up a pretty interesting conversation about dream cars. We got Baron Corbin saying he always wanted a 360 Spider. I always really liked the Dodge Vipers, or even the Dodge Chargers. Like, there's a lot of cool cars that Dodge made.
I got to tell you, if my kids were out of the house, blah 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 blah. The what was it? The Plymouth, the one that looked like the old Model A. Almost.
Oh God, I've heard the name actually recently, but I can't. I'm gonna look it up here. Plymouth.
It's a Plymouth
Rock.
Prowler, the Prowler.
Prowler.
That is one of my dream cars, a Plymouth Prowler.
Go ahead and post a picture of it here. I then went and Googled it. It's a pretty nice looking car. It's just,
yeah.
I do sort of take a shining to some of these more retro looking cars. Like, I question the kind of practicality of it these days with, gas mileage and whatnot, but just stylistically, it looks good.
Yeah, let me see what you got here. Oh, yeah, gorgeous. Gorgeous. I would want one of those. And they have Chevy makes a truck that kind of has this same look to it. And I forget what that is, but Chevy has a truck that I would like. And I know I'm not picking out, like, really, amazing cars, but it's this is one that I would like, the Plymouth Prowler, and like I said, Chevy's got a pickup truck, the SST, I believe it is, the Chevy SST. I would like.
Seen another picture of this with old Jay Leno's got a real hard on for it apparently.
Jay Leno has one of the best car. So does John Cena, by the way, has an amazing car collection. We've talked about, he owns that Ford F1 or whatever it is, that one. I mean, he got in trouble for selling it, blah, blah, blah. He's got a great car collection, too. Jay Leno, though, has an amazing collection, and he is a serious collector of cars.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's something to shoot for, though. You're talking about wanting to get one of those cars, and then, eventually you're going to end up reaching the point where all the kids go to college or move out or whatever. And
just get a job and get the fuck out. I mean, yes, college and education. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, fine. Go to a trade school for a year.
I know. One of them wants to. I'm fine with that. Oh, wow. Hope my kids don't ever listen to this one. But
one of them just walks into your room, just sadly holding a boombox.
Oh, dude, if my kids had a boombox, I would love it.
I bet.
It's funny. I was telling my kids tonight how cool they have it now, and because my kid was listening to a song on YouTube, and he's like, "I've wanted to hear this song all day," and I'm like, "You just don't have a clue how lucky you guys are." I'm like, we used to have to wait for it to come on the radio, and then we'd have to record, and then shut it,
mm-hmm.
and then the cassette, I had to show him a picture of a cassette, would ruin, and then you'd have to cut it and splice it, and then you'd miss a second, and you'd have to wait another time for it to come on the fucking radio. And I'm like, and then we got CDs, and they were cool. We thought they were really cool. But then they got fucking scratched up if you dropped them anywhere, so now they got...
Did you ever have one of those CD doctors? Where, like, it's a little plastic gig, and you put the fucking CD in there, you spray the little fluid on it. And,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had those.
Oh, yeah. Had the CD doctors. Dude, I think I mentioned this on the show. I had the mini disc, the one, the basically. Do you know what those look like? The mini discs.
I think I'm gonna Google search just to make sure, but it sounds vaguely familiar.
Do you remember the 3.5? I think they were. I think that's what they were called. The 3.5 discs for the computer.
Oh yeah. I definitely know those.
They were a little smaller and had a small CD in them. I had one of those, man. I had a player for that and a recorder and everything. Pretty cool shit. But
nice.
never really took off. And now we got digital, man. You can literally just go on YouTube, whatever song you want, you play it, and my kids just don't know the fun torture we all went through in the 80s. But
That's true. Yeah, Bill Burr was actually talking about that not too long ago. Like, he brought up a good point of, like, the whole, you fucking wait for the song to come on the radio and then you record it, and then the fucking DJ talks like for like a minute during the beginning or during the end, just completely fucking throws it off for everybody.
Oh yeah, well the DJ, he had to do his thing and hit the post.
Mm-hmm.
Right when that song's about to hit right when the actual singing starts. So yeah, you had to get the right time, or you had to just go out and buy the album, which wasn't as easy as just like I said, jumping on YouTube now. But everyone knows
Columbia House, 99 CDs, 99 cents. It's pretty sweet too.
Dude, that was the biggest scam in the world.
For sure, and I know because one of my dumb uncles fell for it.
Poor kids will never know the great fucking scams that were out there. But let's go ahead and go back to this infomercial for the main event. Daniel Bryan interviewed backstage. Again, I'm not talking the whole show. I'm just going to touch on a few things. He's interviewed backstage, and he says his first defense when he wins will be with Cesaro. So, again, they're really getting behind Cesaro one more time. I always worry when they do this because we know it's probably going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tease it. They'll give you a little tickle, and then they're going to push you off the cliff.
So you're saying they're just edging? Yes, what they're doing.
That's all they're doing. All they're doing just blue balls the whole way. They're blue balling, Smark. They're blue balling you.
That's one of my favorite Tom Petty songs, Blue Ball. I'm blue balled.
Wasn't that a Smurfs episode?
What? It was a very special episode. Smurfette sort of learned the values of safe sex.
Maybe I saw that on Pornhub. Or X videos. You know me. But speaking of nostalgia, which we've been talking a little bit, looks like next Friday they're going to give us a little nostalgic SmackDown from what they were going for a couple of commercials. Smart.
Yeah, I saw those. They're bringing. Well, I don't know if they're bringing back, but at least for that night, they're using the old exclamation point logo, the ones that used to be like back on the old video games, the original SmackDown video games. Those were cool.
Yeah, this is going to be disappointing. Um,
Oh, probably, but I mean, it's been a month since the last time they used history to try to draw ratings, so we're overdue.
yeah, pretty much. We had another Aleister Black's vignette after this, Mark, basically talking about, school and growing up and blah, blah, blah. I'm not crazy about these. This character, this thing, this looks like Triple H is 100% behind this whole thing. Just my opinion, but it looks like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the first one a little bit better, but the second one, I don't know. It seems like he's like coming off as this, like the kid that just discovered atheism, and he's like, I think for myself. I'm like, you fucking sheep. Like, I'm too cool for all you. He's doing this whole promo, and he's just the edgy fucking. I'm not sure if I'm down with the edgy Aleister Black.
It's, man, I hate to compare it to this, and it might be a bad comparison. It might be a good one. I don't know. You guys can let me know here. It kind of just brings me back to the Shannon Moore shit, the Dilly Gaff.
That's what you were saying last week, yeah.
Did I say that last week?
You did, yeah, because I compared it to the Sean O'Hare one, and you compared it to Shannon Moore.
Oh, wow. I don't remember that. Wow. Man, maybe I should have the wife bring in a shot.
I think that might actually be, there might be a correlation to you not remembering versus the shots that you take.
Probably. But it's still just, it almost goes back to that for me. I don't know why I keep bringing it back to it, but that's kind of what it does. I mean, it's not bad. It's not. How does this train? I mean, this is a very hard transfer from this character, this backstage vignette character, to wrestling.
Right. Basically,
ring.
what are you suggesting? Like, how does he cut promos? Like, how does he incorporate his opponents and his feuds and that kind of shit along with the gimmick? Because I was kind of wondering that too.
I'm actually wondering how the gimmick transfers to the ring.
Like how his wrestling style would be.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered that angle.
I mean, if he just sticks with his old shit, it's like, oh, well, we got the same guy. Just, oh, look, his beard is longer.
That counts as character development these days, so who knows?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Development is character development, I guess. So, I don't know. I guess let's keep waiting and seeing on the old Aleister Black character. But right now, I got to tell you, I'm not really sold on it. That doesn't matter. I know a lot of people actually really enjoyed everything, so great for you. But I'm not sold on it yet. I'm just gonna I'm gonna go slow with this one. Ease into it a little bit, I guess. Just put the tip in a little bit, Smart.
There you go.
Just a tip. Anyway, we get Big E versus Apollo with Commander Aziz down there for the Intercontinental Championship. I really liked this match. It was one of those little kind of WrestleMania rematches. Big E ended up hitting his finisher. Aziz dragged him out of the ring for the DQ. Kevin Owens came out for the save. Sami Zayn came out to even the odds. And I still love that Aziz is using that, formerly the Samoan Spike, now the Nigerian Nail. But really good to see someone using that move. And these guys are going to sell for it. This is a big son of a bitch using that move, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. I'm glad to see it back. I'm glad to see. I mean, he's got the tape on the thumb and everything. So really cool to watch. But this match was a damn good match, I thought. I'm all for Big E. Just kind of think he's getting, once again, back kind of lost in the shuffle of SmackDown. getting a little worried for Big E.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it was a little bit like I thought it was interesting that at the beginning before the match they had like the New Day stop by, or they showed video promos for them just wishing them luck. It's like it seems like you would maybe want to like have the actual guy in the match do a promo before the match, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, listen, if you want continuity, watch a daytime soap opera. Jesus Christ.
Fair enough. I am a hard man to please. Apparently, I get it.
Obviously. We get, I don't have much to say on this because Paul Heyman is Paul Heyman, and we got like an incredible Paul Heyman promo tonight. Basically, Paul Heyman is like the promo shaman at this point in his career. He was chanting. He did everything. He puts the match over. He ties a bow on the whole thing. I like that they're letting Paul Heyman kind of come out there and just do what he does. Talk, sell the match, and get the fuck back to what he was doing. That's it. Promo shaman. I like that one too.
That is a good one. Yeah, I mean that's all you really need, and he did a good job of it because I feel like we all kind of knew what was going to happen, but he still did a pretty good job of making you want to see what happens, and I mean that's the whole goal.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, man, he comes out there. Paul Heyman knows you go out, you sell the match coming up, you sell this, you sell that, you put over this, you put over both guys, you trash the guy a little bit, and then everything comes together. And like I said, he's out there, he's commenting, he's calling once again. He called Cesaro, the $1 billion body, and he got these catchphrases and just such good shit, man. Such good shit with Paul Heyman. Again, that's why I don't have much. We can come out here and praise Heyman every fucking week. It's just going to get to be like a broken record eventually.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. But yeah, I mean, it was a good promo, but then it does become redundant because that's just kind of what he does. It's like saying that Jericho did a good promo. It's to be expected.
Right. Exactly it is. So, and I mean, we get into the main event. I mean, I know I skipped the Nia stuff and a few other interviews and stuff, but who cares? But yes, Weeb, I'm giving a little props to my fellow tribal member, Jew man, Paul Heyman over there. But 40 minutes left in the show. We start getting entrances. But was this new music for Roman? Or did I miss something?
I'm not sure. I hadn't really paid too much attention to the music itself, but it might be new.
For some reason, I feel like this was new music for him. Okay, Sacha Baron Corbin says yes. Let's chat room. Keep telling me yes or no. Make sure I'd like to be right, but
wouldn't we all?
I mean, it's few and far between, but I would like to be right. Okay, everyone's saying it sounded like new music. Okay, so I'm good. Unbelievably entertaining, competitive match. Both of these guys left every fucking thing in the ring, man. Now, Daniel Bryan didn't tap out. He passed out. And he's now banned from SmackDown, Smark. Let me, you go ahead and comment on the whole thing right there, and I'm going to give my son a hug real quick for good night. And I've got my other kid in here yelling father at me. Father.
I am your father.
I am your father. I am your mother. Now they're all jumping in the microphone. Smart, please go ahead while I mute the microphone. Go for it.
Well, since you said mother. Anyways, that's what I'm singing for tonight. Yeah, like you said, I thought it was kind of cool that they started it off. It was about, I want to say about half hour into, with a half hour left, I should say. I was going to say 8:30, but the whole time zone difference gets all confusing for everybody. We got a lot of central people. But yeah, they gave the match a lot of time to go. I was kind of surprised because usually they have a tendency to do it like start a big main event 10 minutes before the hour's up, and it's just like it doesn't have any opportunity to actually breathe and grow and develop. But this one they gave a lot of time to, and like you said, it was pretty interesting that they went the route of not having him actually tap out but pass out. So
Right.
there's, as you said, the whole stipulation was that if he didn't win, he was going to have to retire. I actually have some interesting little quotes. I didn't get the chance to send them to you, but he's been pretty active talking about some things on Twitter that might be tipping a hand a bit, might not mean anything, but I feel like what better place or what better opportunity to just do baseless speculation than wrestling discussions.
All right, I can go with that. I can go with that. Now, there were 40 minutes left. There was 40 minutes. There were 40 minutes left in the match. There was 40 minutes left in the match when it started, but you got to remember it. Daniel Bryan came out, then they went to commercial. Roman Reigns takes 4 to 5 minutes to get in the ring. Really, we started with about 25 minutes. After they did the announcements, which I can't believe Cole didn't say big fight feel 9 billion times tonight. I was waiting for it, but he didn't do it. Smark, did you get that pulled up you were looking for? I was trying to kill you some time there.
Oh, yeah, no, I already had it ready.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Go ahead.
there's two things. No worries. I normally don't, so it's fair play. Just full disclosure, full transparency. So he was talking about, and this might not be in chronological order, but I think they're from the same day. He was talking about Kenny Omega. He says, quote, he looks at wrestling differently than anybody else. With Kenny, there's no previous evolution point. It's just completely new things that have entered his head that he's daring to try. And then he goes on later on, this is a separate tweet about, he says, quote, I don't think a lot of people understand how good some WWE superstars are because we don't put on a pure wrestling product. But if people saw Cesaro in New Japan, people would be like, oh my God, this guy is the greatest. Goes on to talk about how Otis being a great Vader type in New Japan. So it seems pretty innocuous, but then if you couple that with the idea of him saying from last week that he wants to be able to wrestle for other places and WWE, this sounds like the guy that's in a relationship and then suddenly he's installing Tinder on his phone. It's like, maybe we should read a little bit into this. Like, it might not be the end of the world, but he is certainly flirting a bit.
Yeah. And we know his contract is coming up soon, but and then on the heels of that, there's rumors that they're talking with MLW. I didn't really bring that up because I don't know how serious that is. I guess that was a Dave Meltzer kind of rumor that they're talking with MLW about maybe joining forces with them a little bit, doing the same deal they have with Evolve. Who?
Right. Well,
Who?
what I saw, the latest I saw that I'm going to go ahead and make sure to double check that so I was right, is that it's been there's been a rebuttal that conversations are not actually going on at the moment. So I don't know how that ended up coming about, but I did see that, and I was like, oh yeah, they're going to be working with them, air quotes.
Yeah, that's probably
this is actually PW Insider. It says, quote, in regards to rumors of MLW and WWE in discussion, there are no current talks ongoing. Which is weird because it's like, it started off this morning, I saw that. So this morning there were rumors circulating about that, and then by this afternoon they were already sort of quenched.
That's why I was hesitant to get into it. I didn't know if it was real or not. So, and I guess it was not. So, all right, well, good. We'll just let that die.
By the by, tomorrow apparently is the MLW debut on Vice at noon tomorrow. Wow. Noon Eastern, at least. And this is like they had already mentioned that it was sort of kind of the best of like archive tape library stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's Marshall Von Erich versus MJF in a no holds barred match, and then David Boy Smith Jr. versus Simon Gotch.
All right, and I know if you go, I know Vice is on Pluto, which is free. You can get Pluto for free. So, go ahead and check that out. Go ahead and definitely check that out. As far as Daniel Bryan being banned, notice the words they're using. He's banned from SmackDown, not banned from WWE, not banned from the company. He's banned from SmackDown. They might want to bring him over to Raw because he's been making SmackDown a really watchable show in creative. This might not be a bad move for him to go over to Raw and try to do the same goddamn thing. If they'll fucking listen to him.
Well, yeah, that's the big if. That was going to be my sort of counterpoint to that, is how much input would he actually be allowed to have?
Eventually, they've got to listen to somebody. What they're doing is clearly in the ratings, not fucking working, dude. It's not working. Just not. They've got to eventually be like, hey, you know, the old, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, we're still getting over 1 million. We're still doing over what USA expects. That's great. But if you're happy with the numbers you're getting and don't want to grow and grow and grow and grow, what the fuck are you doing? Just close the fucking doors.
That's right.
Just close the
And I mean, you
doors.
would think, like we talked about before, how the sort of critical reception isn't so much important to them because of the TV deals that they're getting and all the money that they're getting from that. But you would think at some point you would want the ratings to be up because you could potentially attract more advertisers, or if there's more people watching, there's more people theoretically buying merchandise and pay-per-views and things of that nature. So it seems like it would go hand in hand. You know, if you improve your show or the quality of your show, you're going to stand to make more money.
Yeah, you would think. You would really think that's something that they would, you know, jump on, but they just, I don't know. Again, we'll see what happens. I believe Daniel Bryan. He might not be maybe he's looking to just take a little break after that and then maybe come back and just do behind the scenes on Raw. Let's see. Daniel Bryan's the guy. I mean, we know he's got the itch. He can't stay out for very long. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with Daniel Bryan. I would expect to see him on Raw. I'll tell you the truth, man. He would be a nice addition to NXT.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, they're wanting to get their viewership up too. And there's a lot more potential for like good matches with him involved.
He would lose a lot, but the matches would be great, and I think that could be something to work out with him. I think that would be nice. I wouldn't mind seeing him on NXT putting over some of those younger guys. I could see him in a Jake Atlas having a great match. Him and Jesus, I'm going to say it. Him and Cameron Grimes having a good match. Dexter Lewis having a good match. I could see it. I would like it. I would like it. I would like to see him over there doing some good. Him and Balor, dude. Him and, oh my God, Daniel Bryan and Tommaso Ciampa.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Put that man on NXT. Now I want it.
Yeah, you selling me on it too. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, now I want that. I want to see Daniel Bryan go over to NXT and just fucking kill it over there. Holy shit, I didn't even think about that. But that would be really, really fucking cool to see over there. Now, after the whole, I mean, obviously Reigns, retained and everything. Reigns puts Daniel Bryan's head on a chair. Cesaro comes out for the save. Jay comes out, the hype man, and takes out everybody. And then Jay and Roman basically just dominate from there. And we basically leave the air with Roman standing tall.
As it should be. Mm-hmm. As it should be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely should be. Is the Ryback discussion going to be yes, Smart, Super Sasha Baron? I do have the Ryback thing, and you know what? We're getting into news right now because we're done with SmackDown. SmackDown tonight again, Smart. We'll just wrap up real quick, and then we'll go ahead and jump into that little Ryback thing. SmackDown was a good show tonight. Again, I'm stealing your kind of lyrics here, or whatever you want to call them. Infomercial for the main event, but decent show. Went quick, a couple of matches sprinkled in. show went fast, so I can't complain.
That's what, and I mean, I totally agree with you. I'm not at all trying to argue that point. And I think it went by pretty quickly too. But it just that I feel like it always says more about how we and everybody else collectively feels about Raw versus how we actually feel about SmackDown. Is just like it was far more tolerable. It was over sooner. There was less bullshit. There was matches we actually wanted to see.
Yeah, it is pretty bad when you're just sitting there like, I mean, it was better than Raw. That's about all I can say good about it. But no, I mean, listen, there's some good things. Like I said, Aziz out there. I like him. I like that he's using the spike. You know, Daniel Bryan right now. I know he's off off the show, but he was a big part of it tonight. There's definitely some good stuff to it. Definitely better than Raw. So that's it. That's it for SmackDown, man.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it too. All jokes aside, it was a lot easier to watch. I agree with you that the U.S. title match was good. The main event was good. Montez Ford did Montez Ford things, so that's always going to get a thumbs up from me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, Big E over there. Hopefully, again, they're going to keep doing some push with him. But SmackDown, decent show. Not great, not amazing. Not horrible, right in the middle, I would say. I'd give it. I'd probably give it a 2 3/4 out of 5 if I had to.
There you go. I like it. I'll stick with that rating.
Yeah. So, all right. So it looks like Super Sasha Baron Corbin wants us to bring up this little Ryback thing. I believe this is what he's talking about. Ryback sometime last week put out a poll.
Yes, he did.
Of where people would want to see him. He put out AEW, Impact, WWE, or retire. And I guess can you add stuff to polls on Twitter?
I don't know about Twitter. I know you can on Facebook. Like, unless they specifically make the option that you can't, you can add things on the polls on Facebook.
But you can also connect your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram. So I don't know how this worked. I got to be honest, and I think this is real. According to everyone, it is. He did one last week, and it ended up about 50-something, like 57% retire.
Mm-hmm.
So he did another one this week, and it ended up being 67.3%, just telling this guy to retire. They don't want to see him on AEW, WWE, or Impact. Wow. This tells you something, man. If this is real, I don't believe everything I see on the internet. I know I'm a conspiracy theorist for not believing everything I see on the internet. Leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Q.
Are you telling me that you can't trust the world flat web?
No. When are we kicking these flat earthers off goddamn Facebook? We're kicking everyone else off, but these flat earthers are out there spitting misinformation, and we let them hang out on Facebook, Smart. What the fuck is wrong with this world?
My favorite was Bill Burr made a joke about that this week on his podcast because he had the flat earther wrote into him and he said, "Hey, when you see fat people, do you think they're flat too?" Which, as a fat person, that fucking got me good. I was fucking rolling. I was like, "That's amazing."
Oh shit, that's good. That's good stuff. I just want to read you the energy that the big guy Ryback has in his tweet. Due to fraudulent votes from the last poll, we have to redo. Where do you want to see Ryback return? This has nothing to do with FMM nutrition and is the official vote. It can greatly impact my future, so don't vote retire. So it looked like he did put retire in there. First of all, why would you put that in there as an option?
Right.
Why would you put that in there as an option? 67% of people. This really tells you that either everyone, it's kind of one of those vote for the worst kind of guys, but this just tells you that no one cares about this guy, in my opinion. It's sad. It's sad. I feel bad for this guy. He's out there like, where do you want to see me? And everyone's like, just fucking leave. Don't talk to us. Get off social media. Fuck off is what we're saying.
I like the idea that it's just like due to suspicious circumstances and shit. Like there's all of a sudden there's this like big fucking deal now. Into having like Sami Zayn come out and make a documentary about the fucking voter tampering of the Ryback Twitter poll. Like, the thing is about the Ryback retirement poll is that there's a lot of mail-in ballots, and you can't trust those, and some ballot boxes are being tampered with. I like the whole idea that there's this like grand conspiracy. It's like, no, people just want you to go away, Ryback, please.
Due to my last election being tampered with, we need to have a redo. Please don't vote retire. Ryback, that's like saying don't touch the fucking red button. Okay?
Which I would argue, actually, if people really wanted to be cruel, they would have voted for Impact. Versus like 83% Impact. I'm like, all right, have fun. Have fun wrestling fucking Zack Ryder or fucking whoever else they have there on their roster these days.
I mean, what's it been at this point, though, man? It's been, 3-4 years since he's been off and no one's given a fuck? The world has moved on without him. So, my God, who gives a fuck at this point anymore? Who really gives a shit? But, I'm sorry, Ryback, but at this point, who gives a shit?
So there's apparently an update on this. Sasha Baron Corbin has posted here. It says, quote, 4 hours left. Remember, if we don't reach 90% retired, there most likely will have to be a third poll at some point.
Well, this one was, obviously this one will be tampered with. The Republicans jumped in or something like that. I don't know. Those darn libertarians. Okay.
This is amazing. He has to be aware of this at this point. This has to be a joke. Like, guys, all right, I'm doing it again. Please don't make me retire. I don't want to have to do this.
I really wish this was Val Venus that put this one out and then people told him to retire. I would love to see his reactions. That guy's insane, dude. Mm-hmm. He's like an anarchist libertarian.
Yes.
Which, this guy wants fucking lawlessness and craziness out there. But, anyway.
He's come quite a ways from his right to censor days.
He's not for any censorship at all. That's the libertarian part of him. And then the anarchist is like, fuck these motherfucking piece of shit pig cops. Every one of them socialist assholes. And it's like, okay, you just lost me, dude. You lost me. You had me at no more taxes. I was great with the no more taxes. And then you went right to fucking kill all cops. I can't go there. The dynamic just you lost me on that one. I'm done.
Get rid of income tax and garbage men. Like, wait, what? Like, hold on a minute.
Yep. It just little weird, old Val Venus over there. But
retires at 68.9% right now. Somebody has to vote now. We need to push this to 69.
Why do I feel like we're doing like a Jerry Lewis marathon here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fucking telethon. Let's get it. We're gonna have fucking operators are standing by. We're gonna get some people. We're gonna bring Antox back to be on the phones.
I'm loosening my tie as we speak. This has been a long day. You guys, only you can make this happen. Put this over. like this, the operators are standing by.
Mm-hmm. Right, everybody in the chat room, you have to answer phones now too.
Just remember, if Ryback retires, we're all happy, and we can. And there's a unicorn at the end of the road for each of us. Remember that. Remember that. There's a unicorn and a rainbow for each of us, and a pot of gold. Yeah, and Lucky Charms.
I'm pretty sure right now you can book him on Cameo to personally wish death upon you as though you were Dave Meltzer.
Well, I'm sure Jim Cornette has the same deal. See which one's cheaper and enjoy yourself. Right. And, before as we're talking about Scottish, Irish, and all the weird alcoholic people out there.
The views of Boxman does not necessarily reflect Mark Wahlberg or Dirt G2's Incorporated. Please send all emails.
I'm talking about myself included, man.
I think I'm Irish too. I'm like half Irish, half Mexican. Just a whole bunch of fucking sectors that are prone to drinking.
My wife thought she was Irish for years until they did one of those ancestry things and they were Scottish. And I'm like, what the fuck's the difference? They're both weird accents. But before we get to, we're talking about it, and before we get too far away.
Before we get to xenophobia, let's move on.
I'm not scared of anybody. Calm the fuck down.
Of course not, but I don't have guns here. You're the one with guns. You're the one that's going to get me shot.
Not right now, I don't. There's a video floating around. I'm not sure when this was made. I'm not sure when this was done. But it's Sheamus and Cesaro after a match with one of the looks like producers. And Sheamus kind of breaks down. It's I know it's a little bit, obviously we only have audio listeners, a little bit audio, but you'll hear it, and it's kind of touching just to hear, Sheamus sit there. It was obviously after one of their matches, and he was a little emotional after it. So here we go.
I'm fighting every week, every month. I don't have to say anything. What do you want me to say? What words can describe what people saw out there?
I know you gotta be exhausted. Dude, that was amazing.
Man, I love you, man. I miss you, bro.
I miss you.
I miss you, man. I know when I got your I'm sorry, man. I love you, man.
You're the man.
I love you, bro. I love you, bro. I love you, bro. I love you, bro. I miss you, man.
That was so good, man.
Thank you, bro.
That was so fucking good.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you, brother.
There you go. And that was Sheamus right there, crying, breaking down, and Cesaro just hugging him like, dude, it's okay. I mean, I know we had a good match, but it's good. You're good. You're good. But pretty cool little thing right there. Obviously Sheamus plays this big badass. You don't expect him to break down and break character, and pretty cool little video of just guys being themselves after really great matches together.
It'd be pretty great. Cesaro just leans in and tells him to quit being such a pussy. Just completely ruins the moment. I mean, from what I've heard, Sheamus is a pretty good guy. It seems like he's good friends with a lot of those people. Mm-hmm. I mean, how could you not be when you're there for as long as he's been there? It seems like he's been there, at least a decade at this point.
Right. Yeah.
So, obviously, you kind of develop those relationships over time.
Yeah, and I mean, Cesaro's been there a good long time too, and obviously, it's just, like you said, Sheamus has been there a very fucking long time, and I got nothing against Sheamus. Obviously, personally, I don't know the guy, but seems like a really good guy. Again, just for some reason, better as a babyface. I rarely say that, but
yeah,
much better as I don't know why, but better as a babyface.
I feel like my all-time favorite Sheamus clip will forever be the fucking Total Divas run. We have like Rusev at the time, dude, talking about, hey, we after this we're gonna watch Total Divas. And you just hear Sheamus from the background just yell, "We're not fucking watching that shite." All of a sudden, it just fucking the video cuts out. Like it's pretty wonderful.
Yeah. But I mean, these guys have had some very good matches, in the past and even recently. Again, I'm not 100% sure when this was done, but like I said, just guys being guys, man. Just after a great match, they're just emotional, and that's what happens when you leave everything in the ring, man.
Yeah, that's very true.
So, all right, I'm good on that. Let's get into a few things here. What are we going to get into next, Smark? Well, let's get into these ratings real quick. AEW ratings. We'll go ahead and jump into those real fast, and then we'll move on from there. AEW, after doing 1 million for what, 2 weeks straight, Mark? A little over 1 million, 2 weeks straight.
Mm-hmm.
Dropped down to 889,000. Now,
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm not going to say that's a bad number. I'll be honest with you. I think if they can stay in the 8s, again, we had that 1.7 million was really the key number of combined viewers for AEW and NXT. So I think if AEW sticks between that, 850 and million mark weekly, I think it's about where they need to be to keep the network happy. I'm not the network. I don't know. I'm guessing that's probably where they need to be. So I'm not going to say this is a bad number. They did drop a lot of people. So I don't know. Not like I said, it's not a horrible number, but they probably wanted to crack 1 million again this week, which I wouldn't blame them for, but they didn't.
The interesting thing is that this is the first week Cody was back. What a coincidence! That's a rating drop. No, I'm kidding. Although I would actually be ecstatic if that's why the ratings dropped. But because I don't know, like it just the card itself, like especially compared to last week's card, it seemed like it wasn't like a super eventful card. Like we were talking about, there were some good matches on there. The Pentagon Orange Cassidy match was good, but like before the show even played out, I'm just saying, if you see that card and you're sort of on the fence as to whether or not you want to watch the show, I don't think there was any really one particular thing that made you really want to take the time out of your day and actually watch it if you were just on the fence about it. Now, next week's number is going to be telling because they've been building up this blood and guts show for quite a while. And they've already sort of announced the matches that they have around that too. And they're kind of going unpotentially intended. Choose your own illusion on this one, but they're going all in on the card and all in on the promotion. So we'll see what this ends up doing for them. And they've announced some big matches. We were talking about the Yuji Nagata John Moxley match from 2 weeks from now. So they have some big matches in the future that they've already talked about, and we'll see if the number can go up from here. But I would blame it on an underwhelming card, honestly.
Yeah, and again, we talked about, AEW obviously on Wednesday, and, we said it was a good show, but there wasn't a lot of meat to it.
Mm-hmm.
It was, again, I guess we could say it was an infomercial for Blood and Guts coming up next week, which it kind of should have been. So,
yeah.
They did their job, but I guess it didn't translate well. Now, speaking, though, of AEW, Smark, it looks like they're going to have a few program changes coming up, according to the old Wrestling Observer, old Meltzer over there. On the week of May 28th is a Friday, I believe. Let me make sure that's right. May 28th is a Friday. Let's see. May 28th is a Friday.
Yes.
And that is going to be the night that whatchamacallit, AEW, they originally had Double or Nothing scheduled for the 26th. That's going to be moved to the 28th because of the NBA playoffs. So that's going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. So we're not going to be talking about that. So also on June 2nd, they will be preempted. They're going to go live either June 4th or 5th. Most likely June 4th, another Friday, by the way. So that's going to be another one. And there's going to be another Saturday taping. That's for June 4th. Sorry, right there. But they're going to be preempted for a little while. And it looks like, once again, they're going to be preempted at the end of May for another broadcast. Stand by. Man. They're supposed to be unopposed and this and that. And now they're getting bumped off everywhere.
I mean, I know it sounds bad, but I don't really think it's as bad as one may be led to believe, because they do have a pretty loyal fan base. Like, we've been here before. This has happened last year, with for the same exact reason, and people followed. They still did some pretty good numbers. It might not have been as good as they do on a week-to-week basis, but they still did some pretty good numbers. And the thing about it that's kind of positive, though, is that you do have a lot of people that are going to be tuning into the NBA playoffs. So if you can get, you have a good opening match or whatever, you might be able to hook a couple of extra people that you didn't have before, kind of build a viewer base a little bit.
Yeah, you might be able to. You might.
Or, like last year, you'll have a bunch of people making fun of Chris Jericho for putting on weight. Who knows?
Exactly, which is probably more likely about to happen. So, but I've got nothing more on that. Now, Smark, kind of sticking with the AEW news that we have here. I want to get into this Joey Ryan, which will bring us into Alberto Del Rio. There's a show being booked, and I see you posted one picture of it with Alberto Del Rio on, but it's this weekend, I believe.
The 19th of June.
Okay. I actually think it's in Texas. I think it's for SWE Fury, isn't it? Not the one you posted, but the actual match with Andrade and Alberto Del Rio.
Hey, let me go ahead and look that up, though. But
all right, maybe I'm wrong.
What I had saw was that it was scheduled to take place in Mexico.
Okay,
the Andrade Alberto Del Rio
I
match.
see. Yeah, you've got it up here. You're right. It is. Well, here's the thing. Joey Ryan, we all know the allegations going on against Joey Ryan. He puts out this tweet. This was a few days ago. This was let's see, what's it, the 30th. So this was 5 days ago. Joey Ryan calls out Tony Khan a little bit in this tweet. He goes, "So a couple of AEW talent worked a show last night with Alberto Del Rio, who's been arrested for and awaits trial for kidnapping and sexual assault, but working a show with me, who has never been arrested and never had any legal troubles whatsoever, is where Tony Khan draws the line?" ? Looks like SoCal Uncensored also put something in here saying, say what you want about hashtag speaking out, but someone booked and wrestlers worked a show with Alberto Del Rio, who is awaiting trial for kidnapping. There's a little gaslighting going on here, Smart. A little bit. I'm not going to say full. And by the way, I want to get this out of the way right up front. I am not saying Alberto Del Rio is this great guy who's never done anything wrong. Alberto Del Rio is a piece of shit.
Yes.
I just want to put that out there. But this tweet is a little misleading. Yes, he is awaiting trial. He is. But the woman has said she lied and has dropped all charges against him. Now, this was all down in way South Texas, Bexar County, Texas, which is way out south. Why the authorities haven't dropped this, I don't know. But with no witness, no complainant, no plaintiff, you've got nothing. So I don't know if they're just waiting for paperwork to go through or what. But the woman says she lied. I don't know if that's the truth or not. I'm not saying she's telling the truth. I don't know what's the truth. Only these two know the truth. But his charges have been dropped, Joey. And you still have women saying what they say. Again, nowhere am I defending Alberto Del Rio as this great person. He's a piece of shit. He's done horrible things to women. Paige has put out some things that he has done to her that I will never defend in my life. But yes, he's got some legal troubles, but there's no defendant really. So this is going to go nowhere. I just hate that most people are going to believe this now. But there is definitely a difference in what's going on here. Do you see it, Smark? Do you see the contrast here of what Joey Ryan is saying and what's really happening?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're getting at, because in the sense of that, like, there are still, like, active suits being brought against Joey Ryan and whatnot. People haven't backed down or taken back any of the statements that they've made about him. The Del Rio thing, or El Patron, whatever you want to call him these days, I don't really give a shit. That, I mean, like you said, she has dropped the charges. That's the fact of the matter. It's important to separate facts from feelings and opinions, which I'm going to completely ignore that sentence by saying that in my opinion, not in my fact, but in my opinion, that was absolutely an intimidation tactic. That it's like, oh, hey, the guy who like beat and tortured you and raped you is just, perhaps turning on the heat and getting you to perhaps think that you misunderstood what it was that happened. Like, it just seems like it seems very dirty and very seedy to me. That's not a fact. That is an opinion. Again, just to get that out there. Right. But I mean, it's really sort of at this point a pissing contest between who can be the bigger piece of shit. And like, if you're Joey Ryan, is this really what you want to be doing? It's like, well, compared to this guy, I'm not so bad. It's like, yeah, compared to fucking Saddam Hussein, you're not so bad, but you're still an asshole. So fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, hey, compared to the guy who's accused of kidnapping and rape, I'm not so bad, am I? It's like, oh, you're not helping your cause here, Joey. But again, to me, both guys are a complete garbage. I said when Joey Ryan was wrestling that he was a scumbag for doing what he does. He's grabbing, purposely using his gimmick to grope women. Mm-hmm. I said that.
And then putting out a fucking compilation video of it on your YouTube for clicks and views and attention. And this is not before, this is after the various fucking allegations that were made against you. It's like, yeah, I did nothing wrong, but here's a bunch of videos of me fucking touching people's asses and boobs. And it's just like, okay, yeah, sure. This is akin to the whole OJ thing of I didn't do it, but if I did, here's how.
Yeah, if I did, here's exactly what But and now, Weebs, I'm not saying that Alberto Del Rio's been redeemed. I kind of was smart on it that he got to her. Again, no proof of that. Just a guess. But there is a difference, big difference in what's going on here, and I really just think Joey Ryan should have worded this different, maybe. Or just not even said anything. Or maybe done a simple Google search to see what was going on with the case. Because, again, the woman did drop charges. Listen, we're innocent until proven guilty in a court of law in this country still.
Sure.
So, that should be taken a little bit into consideration. And again, if she says it didn't happen, maybe she misunderstood what happened. I don't know. Again, kidnapping and beating and all that shit he did is hard to misunderstand. But it is what it is. Charges dropped. Big difference. I think Joey Ryan now he's just looking to get his name back out there. And look, we're talking about it, so he did his job.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, you're exactly right. We are talking about it, but what does this lead to? Does it lead to him starting up his own promotion again? Does this lead to him getting a podcast? What kind of podcast is going to want to sponsor this guy with those allegations about? I don't see him getting like an Adam and Eve sponsorship out of this deal. You know what I mean? So it's just like, okay, yeah, sure, he's got attention, but I don't know if he can necessarily monetize it. But that being said, it is the internet. There's a lot of other fucking skeezy, scummy slime balls out there. So who knows?
Well, what it leads to is a match with Andrade, formerly known as Andrade, and Alberto Del Rio. And Smark, it is a match in Texas, but it's South Texas. Very close to the border. Southwest Texas, which is very close to the border. So it is taking place down there in Tejas. And so that's basically what it's all leading to. But I mean, even when you go to this article here, if that's just about the headline is about the match. You scroll down and it talks about the charges that have been dropped against him and everything else. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's going to be May 3rd, according to this. And what's it called? I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. So
Nacion de Lucha Libre.
There you go. It's covered up on this one here. So that's going to be it'll be a good match. So we'll see what goes on with that. But I just wanted to get into that. Now, real quick. Smark, we did have Rebellion over the weekend. Did you catch any of this?
What I did see, I felt kind of bad because it wasn't a bad match, but there was a lot of people who were kind of making fun of the world title match. The main event was Joey Ryan versus not Joey Ryan. Oh my God, sorry, Kenny Omega. I really hope never finds out about this. It was Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann. And a lot of people are making fun of Rich Swann because towards the end he kind of was visibly gassed. And he was just kind of blown up, and Kenny Omega had to kind of carry him through it. And it still wasn't a bad match, but I was just seeing some people that were making fun of Rich Swann for not being able to hang. And there were some people that were making fun of him for not being as emotive as they thought that he should have been in his promo before the match, which, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that, but there it is.
All right. Well, also what happened is Eric Young was out of the match due to a torn ACL, and W. Morrissey, otherwise known as Cass XL, otherwise known as Big Cass, was the replacement for him. He came out looking like heavier edge, eyes bugged out and all, but he did cut a promo, and it's about 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and I'm going to play it.
You may recognize this face, but you do not know who I am. You don't know who any of these people are. They come out here and they parade around like they're your heroes, like they love you. They do not love you.
Okay, real quick, before I forget, I have to say something.
Mm-hmm.
You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. Who said that?
Old Scott Hall himself. I was getting ready to say, fucking keyword is play. Different guy, but still same shit.
Yep. Very reminiscent of that right there. I just didn't want to forget it, and we know how my memory works, so here we go.
They do not care about you. These are very bad people. In fact, this entire industry is filled with bad people. And the only difference between me and all of them is I'm not afraid to admit it.
Did you get the subcontext of what he was saying?
All right, then the whole thing goes on from here, but very reminiscent of that Scott Hall promo when he first came into WCW. Very, almost, man, you could almost say stolen. Revamped.
I mean, the cadence. Mm-hmm. The cadence is definitely there.
Right.
I do kind of like it, though. I do like how he's basically just saying that everybody in the wrestling business is a bunch of fucking sleazeballs and scumbags, but he embraces it. He doesn't try to hide it. And it's like, all right, that's cool. I can get behind this. I mean, it's more of a character than he ever really had when he was in WWE. Because, I mean, he was basically just there as Enzo's heavy, and then that went away. And his thing was that he was the big guy who didn't like small guys, so sort of a lesser version of what Corbin was doing.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, I'm glad to see him back, and you know, I hope he's mentally and it looks definitely physically looks like he's in a good place. Mentally, I hope he's in a good place. I know he's everyone's got their demons. I know, you know, something he's battled for a while, but hopefully he's back. He's good, and you know, we don't talk Impact because I don't watch it. And Smark does every now and then, but I believe you do. It's just not something we get into. So hopefully though he'll do well over there and use it as a stepping stone somewhere.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. He sort of fouled up a bit, and we talked about it. He wasn't, necessarily always the most professional, the most well-liked person in the locker room. But compared to, and I know we just talked about how you don't want to compare yourselves to other wrestlers for various reasons, but considering a lot of the other transgressions and sins that have been committed by his peers, him just being an asshole for a little while is way easier to forgive than some of the other things that his cohorts have gotten up to.
Oh, most definitely. I can't deny that right there. But all right, I'm trying to think what else, Smark, we've got. We don't have that much more to get into. Like I said, man, it was a busy week, but not a ton here. Real quick, since WWE has gotten on Peacock, they have added 9 million new signups. Now, Comcast is not just crediting WWE for the new 9 million. They're crediting The Office and a few other things they've gotten on here, but they've had 9 million new signups. And I believe when we were looking at this, Mark, they already had 11 million. Mm-hmm. Back, active was about 9 to 11 million. And now they're adding another 9. So this is still a very, very sizable boost for them in this quarter. Just announcing WWE coming on, announcing, The Office was one of the bigger shows that they're crediting for this. So, man, that's a lot of fucking subscriptions to something. Now, I do question the fact that WWE could only pull right around that 1.5 to 2 million on their network. And we get all these millions and millions of people here, which, again, that's just why I don't think you can really credit, and why they don't completely credit WWE with the whole thing here. Mm-hmm. And they do add The Office. I just don't know if, 9 million people are signing up just to watch The Office. Or 7 million. I mean, if you want to take the 2 million that we just talked about on the network, you think 7 million people are signing up to watch The Office, dude? Is it possible?
You would be surprised with the amount of shit that I see on Facebook, the sort of fucking endless amount of Office memes and quotes, and just, you would be amazed how much your average run-of-the-mill white person loves The Office. It really is true. But I mean, that's the thing, is you're getting to the point now where with the streaming services that so many of the big ones, they encompass so many different shows and programs and movies and whatnot. They have all these partnerships and deals and what have you, to the point where they almost kind of stop caring as to what the reason why you're subscribed is, and they just want your subscriptions.
Right.
They don't really take a lot of time to think and to analyze, because you have Disney, that Disney Plus has all their original shit, all the original Disney movies, your Aladdin and whatnot, and they also have the Marvel stuff, they have the Star Wars stuff, they have all the Simpsons episodes. So it's like they don't really necessarily analyze and care all that much, and as far as what I've seen, as to why people are subscribing, as much as it is just, hey, throw as vast and of a net as possible out there in terms of the content you provide, and hopefully you'll draw as many people as possible.
Right. And I mean, let's face it, when you just paid $1 billion for, the WWE network and you're getting 9 million, you don't give a flying shit why they fucking signed up. The fact is they signed up and it looks good for your quarterly numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the thing, is if you can spend $1 billion, you can lose $1 billion. You know what I mean? That's the kind of money that these fucking people have to work with. Unfortunately, as more and more people, fall under the poverty line. But anyways, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they got my money. I mean, like I said, I paid for the whole year. I did $100 the $99.99 deal. So, hey, they got my money for it. I'm there.
Right. And another thing too, though, is I wonder how many people, have, because if you have Comcast, you get it for free.
Right.
I wonder how many people, is included in that, new members that, people have switched over to Comcast, people that might have switched over to Comcast because of that. Mm. Like, there's all different kinds of potential reasons and numbers and elements that play with this too.
And I think it's Comcast, and I think Xfinity might also come with it.
Uh-huh.
I think it
Charter,
also
maybe?
what I don't know, but I think it's Xfinity, another one that comes with it. But listen, 9 million viewers, extra subscriptions is nothing to laugh at, especially in the first quarter when, I'm sure that's why they announced this deal so early, not only to get people transferred over, but to start bumping up your quarter one numbers. So I think this worked for Comcast, the parent company here. I think this worked very well in their favor, and which in turn could, I'm not saying it will, could work in WWE's favor. Again, they were sitting there with 2 million eyes on their product. Now they have damn near, 15, 20 million eyes that are at least available to see their product, eligible to see their product. You know what I mean?
Linear eyeballs, as old Nick Khan liked to say.
There you go. I mean, he's kind of right. It is. It's there. All they have to do is notice it, click on it, and start watching it. So, I don't know. Well, definitely good for them, though, on that note right there. All right, let's Smark, let's get into this Mickie James thing. Mm-hmm. Mickie James, she started old garbage bag gate or trash gate, whatever you want to call it. But she also put out another video saying that she pitched a women's only show to WWE. Mm-hmm. Now, Mick Foley kind of tacked onto this a little bit, saying that, hey, WWE, if you don't do it, AEW or someone else will. I'm not so sure of that. This is only a minute and a half, but I'm going to go ahead and play it, and then we'll talk about it, or it will pause if I don't want to forget something. Here we go.
Where in all of this, I go, okay, well, what if we do an all-female branded product? What if we just do an all-female branded show? There's different shows and stuff that we could do within it or whatever. And if I could help lead up and head up that, and we have like an awesome team of women that we could really like lean on and create. We have the talent, we have all these people, we have the tools, we have the facilities, we have everything that we need. And it's like, it could literally be all these like little things that would help, really, really help a lot of these girls who aren't getting the television time or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I shit you not, like this one person said, because I feel like I've talked about this several times to different people in different roles and kind of gone like, okay, just to kind of feel it out. But finally over the weekend, while I'm sitting back there kind of like just evaluating like where I'm going to fit in, he says to me, they're never going to do it ever. Women's wrestling doesn't really make money.
Okay, real quick. Who do you think said it? Kevin Dunn, or John Laurinaitis? Those are the only two I can think of that she's talking about.
Now, do you think when Kevin Dunn has a conversation with somebody, he just like, instead of having one desk chair, he just has like 4 different desk chairs that just as he, in the middle of his sentences, he just jumps from one to the other, just fucking rapid style as though it's one of his fucking knee-jerk camera cuts?
I think he's chewing a 2x4 while he's talking to people.
Building a dam in the process of trying to, have business negotiations. I get you.
Yeah, the only, because AJ said, and the speculation was in AJ's book, AJ Lee's book, she said one of the agents, and she alluded that it was John Laurinaitis, told her she'll never make money because she's unfuckable.
Look, kid, tell you what, I see a better rack on Old Nature Boy. They're a little saggier than they should be these days. Not quite as perky as they used to be, but they got a symmetry to them, And the areolas, don't get me started on those, boy. Anyways, kid, get out of my office.
Yeah, that's about what it would be like. Now, it seems some people, Sasha Baron Corbin is saying it was Pritchard, Bruce Pritchard, which that's possible. That is possible because, we know what day and age we're talking about now, which is now. It could have been.
That's sort of the funny thing. It's like we talk about how shitty WWE was in terms of like a product and in terms of like all the sort of like swarmy, gross things that happened back in the late 80s, early 90s. Those people are like still here and they're put in charge of executive roles.
Yeah, they are. But and we'll get into the whole female product in just a minute. Oh, that sounded horrible. In just a minute, all female. That sounds even bad. Let's just play the fucking video. God damn it.
The Women's Evolution pay-per-view, lowest rated pay-per-view ever in the history of WWE pay-per-views. So, I don't know. Like, I get what you're trying to do, but I don't understand why you're fighting so hard for it. Like, you should just kind of, like, play the cards that you're kind of dealt and then see if there's a way to, like, incorporate that within a different show rather than fighting for it to be its own show.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay.
Okay, so all-female show, and Weebs is saying exactly what I was just thinking. Like Shimmer, like Women's Extreme Wrestling, like a lot of other companies already out there that you probably haven't heard of. DJ fucking Hyde owns, what is it, WSW, the women's company? And hardly no one's hearing of it. You know why? Mickey, I hate to say this. Women's wrestling don't draw money. Unless you're in a fucking trench coat.
Well, that's the thing, though, is like, I get what she is getting at, that it gives some of the less developed talent, and they probably should have used a better choice of words there. But some of the younger people, some of the less experienced members of the roster, it gives them an opportunity to wrestle more and just build up, their chops a little bit better. But the thing is if you create an entire brand, an entire show that is just women's wrestling, it becomes just women's wrestling. Like, the idea is that you want it not to be women's wrestling. You want it to be wrestling. You want it all to be one thing. You want it to live under that wrestling umbrella. So if you create a women's wrestling show that further bridges, it creates a farther gap between women's wrestling being accepted the way that you would hope for and anticipate, because and then you could just as easily, like, if you have a show and you have a brand that is just all women's wrestling, you could just as easily start treating it like it's, main event. Like, they're probably not going to promote it very well. And then people, because they don't promote it very well, people aren't going to watch it. And then it's going to echo the sentiment that women's wrestling isn't important, or it doesn't make money, or doesn't get ratings, whatever. The best way that you could potentially grow the women's division is doing what they're doing now, by having it right alongside and having it be prominently featured. I mean, you're going to need better angles. You're going to need better feuds, but you're going to need that across the fucking board. That's not a women's thing. That's a WWE thing.
Right. You're right. It is. And you're right. You do create more of a separation, like you just said, between the two. And, as a network show, maybe, all right, I could see it. But, I mean, no one even gave a fuck about 205 Live.
Right.
So, I see where both of them are going. Mickey's right. It would probably, it wouldn't be bad to put on a show where all the women could just go out there and do what they need to do. And that would probably be a good network show. But I'm thinking when she was talking about this and pitching this, they might have already known that this whole $1 billion deal was about to go down. And maybe they were trying to talk her out of it for that.
Could be.
So, I don't know.
And unfortunately, though, like, I hate to say it, but, like, this is not really so much an opinion as it just is what's going on. There's no women's division in New Japan, and New Japan is like the second biggest company in the world right now. So it's like, unfortunately, it is what it is. It's been proven that there is a large sector of male wrestling fans, and sometimes even potentially female wrestling fans, that don't look at women's wrestling with the same sort of reverence that they do at male wrestling, unfortunately. And I mean, you could look for a billion reasons as to why that is and ways to improve it, but unfortunately that kind of is the climate at this point. I mean, it's a sad thing, but it's a reality.
You're right. It is. I can't argue with any of that. But and again, I kind of wish she had flat out said who said it to her. At this point, who gives a shit? They sent your stuff in a trash bag and you outed them for it. So, but I don't know. I got a feeling. I just have a feeling it was Laurinaitis. I just got a gut feeling it was Laurinaitis who said it. I'm completely speculating. I have no proof at all. It's just a speculation. That's who I think did it. So, all right. I got nothing else on that. What about you?
No, I think we pretty much did a good job of covering that.
Well, good. I'm glad you think so. We'll play this broken Matt Hardy video in a minute, this little cameo we have from him. We'll get into a couple more things here. Speaking of women's wrestling, let's get into one quick little thing here. If you're wondering who was the kind of matchmaker agent for WrestleMania 37 women's matches, it was none other than Tyson Kidd.
So we have him to thank for that tag team tournament match then, huh?
We also have him to thank for Bianca versus Sasha.
That is true. There's good and bad.
So let's give, and the the Asuka, Rhea Ripley, and oh God, who else was in that?
No, that was it. It was Asuka and Rhea Ripley.
We have that too. So he was probably given what he was given. I'm not going to blame him, but a lot of the women went on to thank him on Twitter for just. Obviously, Natalya was kind of the first one to jump in and thank him for his work. Billy Kay was another one, like the next one to jump in for it. But a ton of other people jumped in. Cassie Lee, formerly Peyton Royce, said at TJ Wilson, the GOAT, and put the old thank you hands up there. Carmella even said, what would we do without you, at TJ Wilson. So grateful for you. Y'all have no idea. Nia Jax chimed in. Who gives a fuck? Renee chimed in. Dana Brooke, on and on of women that chimed in to praise the work of TJ over there. On obviously once again Tyson Kidd, but TJ over there kicking ass in the women's division. Like I said, you can make fun of the turmoil match all you want, the tag team turmoil match all you want, but again, he was probably given what he was given by creative. Here, make this good. It still wasn't a bad match, but we also have to thank him for the other amazing women's matches on there. So you take the good with the bad, Smark. You take the good, you take them bad. You take them both, and there you have the facts of life.
The facts of life?
Go ahead.
I think that's about the most that I can remember from that song.
Yeah.
I was singing a little bit of the Mr. Belvedere song the other day. That's always a good one.
There you go. That's real old school. But again, TJ Wilson back there killing it backstage. Ooh, bad choice of words. But definitely pretty cool to see. And like I said, man, that Sasha Bianca match, we've talked so many times about it. Great match. They went out there and just made it a better match by being emotional in the beginning. At the end, it just old TJ here might have laid it out, but those girls went out there and executed an amazing performance.
Sure, definitely.
So that's where I'm at with that right there. And what else? I thought I had something else on women's wrestling. I have a couple more things on women's wrestling here, and then we'll knock out one more thing. All right. Let's get into this one. Now, Molly Holly. Smark, what's some of the words we've always heard about Molly Holly? Pure. Good.
Unadulterated evil. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought you were done. My bad.
No, sweetheart, good person. Just never hear a bad thing about Molly Holly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, looks like when she was ready she was on Busted Open Radio, which for some reason everyone is.
Yeah.
And she was asked about her Hall of Fame speech. And originally, her Hall of Fame speech was going to be 15 minutes. Okay? I saw some people saying, wow, her speech was really fast. Well, they brought her from 15 minutes to 2 minutes. That's why her speech was so fast. But she put out a little, it's a whole thing. I guess I'll go ahead and fucking read it. Again, on Busted Open Radio. Let me just start here. She says, and I quote, "It was awesome that Hurricane Helms was the one to tell me that I was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The fact that he legitimately, for real, got choked up and was super proud of me, that was really special. I loved that moment. Behind the scenes after that, I was told I would have about 15 minutes to give a speech, so I spent a lot of time and had 3 friends of mine that are professional writers help me. I practiced it for 60 hours. I have a regular 9-to-5 job, and after work every day I would practice it while I was going for a walk. I worked really hard on it. Then, a couple of days before, they said, "Oh, never mind. You actually have 2 minutes to give your speech." I cried for like 4 hours. A lot of times when I used to wrestle full time, they would tell us, "You have 12 minutes to wrestle." And then the night before, and then right before you walked out, they would be like, "Nope, nope, 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 nope. You have 4 minutes." We were so ready to tell a story, good versus evil, and give the fans their money's worth. Now it's just entrances, 2 moves, and the match. It would be such a heartbreak. Makes sense. And then she goes on to say, "I think it took a lot of I took a lot of that resentment on hurt or whatever from 20 years ago and piled it on that moment when they cut the speech down. I was so sad, but there's good news." Now, the good news was they let her put it on YouTube, Smart.
How kind of them.
She actually, I mean, just to prove how good of a person she is, she actually says, "They made it right by letting me go on YouTube with their 75 million subscribers." This woman deserves, I mean, if anyone deserves sainthood in this country, it's Molly Holly, dude.
Let's go ahead and take a look here at the view count for this video.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know, for whatever reason, I guess I hit a little bit of a lag there because I saw that I thought you were like building up to a point because you got really close to the microphone, and I was like, all right, I was waiting for the next part of that, but then it just never came.
That's really it right there. But she says it was just a roller coaster of emotions for her, but just the fact that she thinks that made it right just shows what a fucking absolutely great
God damn it happened again.
Oh, there you go. She really almost doesn't belong in the wrestling business. She's so nice and good.
Okay, so I had to do it because after you said with their, the amount of subscribers that they have, it was like 76 million, you said?
75.
Something. Well, it's showing me 76.4.
Okay.
I just checked just to make sure. Sorry, it's 76.4 million, and they gave her an opportunity to make it right so that every one of their 76.4 million subscribers could have the potential, if they so choose, to view her full-length Hall of Fame speech. I went ahead and checked the view count on that video. 82,000 views. So
yeah, I mean,
we really sure did make it right by her, didn't they?
I mean, remember when they just said that, hey, if you want to watch the full Molly Holly speech, check it out on our YouTube. Remember that?
I sure do. Yeah, that was the same show where AEW promoted the Impact pay-per-view. There's a lot of eventful things that happened on that show.
Yeah, it didn't happen either.
This is a Rio de Janeiro version of Raw that bet on.
Holy shit, Pat Patterson's got the time. Anyway, let's. All right. Smark, you got a couple things to get into, and then I guess we'll use this little Chelsea Green thing. It's kind of a fun thing, and we'll use this as the kind of the wrap up to the show. But you got a couple of little things to get into. Roll the dice, sir.
Sure. As I try to get this internet to sort of work better again. I don't know, I'm hitting a bit of a lag here, but as we do enjoy talking about the various terrible things WWE does, I guess we'll go ahead and throw a little bit of attention along the way to their quote-unquote rival. Old AEW is maybe not quite as nice of guys as we thought they were. So this old Botchamania here put out a tweet today that was saying AEW just removed 7 videos, and I currently have 2 active copyright strikes on the account. 1 more and the channel's dead. I have messaged a social media / YouTube person for AEW to see if this can be reversed. We were on good terms, so I'll try and find out what's happened. It'd be vaguely amusing after all these years of WWE getting annoyed with Botchamania for AEW to be all friendly and then kill it.
I kind of feel like I'm going to be the devil's advocate on this one. They've got the right. Just because WWE doesn't put out a copyright claim doesn't mean AEW can't say, hey, that's our content and fuck you for playing it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. They do own the content and they do own the rights to it, so they can use it as they should or as they so choose. But I mean, the thing is like, obviously, and I know you know this, I'm not arguing this to you, I'm just putting it out there as a point. What Botchamania does is a lot different than full AEW, full gear pay-per-view streaming. Now, you know, it's entirely a different thing. It's more of a, it's a collection, it's an anthology, it's highlights and clips of various promotions all over the world, different botches and flubs and miscues and what have you. So what they're doing is a lot different than just people who are showing like full-length segments of their shows trying to get views for their YouTube channel, obviously, And so, I mean, I do kind of understand that, like you said, they own the rights so they can do whatever they want to do with it. But at the same time, like, is this really the hill, you know what I mean? This is really the hill you want to die on? Is this the kind of publicity you want out there about your company? I've seen a couple of just various people who do wrestling related YouTube videos talking about how AEW has kind of done this to them. They are YouTubers of like way less stature than Botchamania, so I hadn't really thought to bring it up before because I wasn't familiar with their channel and what they do. But I have seen those sort of allegations lobbied against them, that they're kind of tough characters when it comes to patrolling YouTube.
Right now, but I got to tell you, man, again, I feel like I'm playing devil's advocate here, and I'm sorry if I am, but if Botchamania is monetizing these videos, you're making money off someone else's content.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I believe that they are. I believe there's ads. I've seen ads before Botchamania. So, I mean,
then they are monetized. They are making money from this, and they are using someone else's content. WWE may not have gotten to them yet, but I'm sure eventually they would have. Or maybe they do have a good relationship with them and WWE understands, but Tony Khan's a little more internet savvy. And,
well, that was the thing, though, is he was saying that they were on good terms with the AEW people.
Well,
like their YouTube personnel.
That's great, but again, if you're monetizing, making money off of their content, that they're spending billions of dollars, per year to promote, and all you got to do is, sit there on your computer for 5 minutes, cut a little video, and play it. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but that's kind of where I am on it. I mean, I know this is shitty. I know it's shitty to do. I know this is a long time channel that shows these things, but I mean, YouTube hasn't exactly shown that they're, this company full of morals either. So, you send some complaints and they don't give a shit. They'll put it right out there for you. So,
and plus, I would say what's interesting in particular is that one of the ones that got copyright claimed was from April 18th. So it looks kind of like it's more of an issue of maybe them taking offense with some of the more recent things that have happened in AEW, with like the whole disastrous fucking pyro thing, and the one we had talked about. I think we talked about it on the show before, that fucking AEW dark match with Luchasaurus, where they just stop in the middle of the match during a spot. It's just, there's been like a lot of sort of just bad things that have happened, miscues, things like that have happened on AEW television lately, and I guess I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily blame them for people not wanting people to see that, but then that's just part of the game. Like, you kind of come off as being a little bit thin-skinned if you're trying to keep these people from seeing just a couple of mistakes that like everybody knows happens all the time anyway, all across different promotions.
Right. Yeah. And listen, I know you people may be a little surprised for this, me being such a free speech guy, and we do have free speech, but again, if you're monetizing, making money off someone else's content, there's a point to where we've got to say, wait, you can't make money off of what I do. You know, there's got to be a point. So
there's a lot of with YouTube, especially, but there really needs to start being. I don't know, actually. I don't know if I really want to bring legislation into this, but like with YouTube, I know of just as a fact of a YouTuber who does like reviews horror movies and whatnot, and he'll do from time to time like live streams where watch-alongs, but they're watch-alongs for movies that are in the public domain. So like Night of the Living Dead, things like that, things that are not owned as copyrights. And he will still end up getting copyright claims for like doing watch-alongs where he'll talk over the movie and not showing the movie just as a ways to get, views, but as actually providing content along with it as a, companion of it. And he'll get, copyright claims from that. Like we talked about before, there are people that got copyright or DMCA claims against them on Twitch for streaming in like a store or a restaurant or a bar where music was playing. Like some of these things can be very finicky at times.
Well, that's the algorithm that's running on YouTube right there.
Sure.
Picking up what it's supposed to. So, all right, I'm going to give my son a quick hug here. Good night, buddy. Love you. Good night.
I love you, Father.
Oh, crazy kid.
And yes, as Sasha Baron Corbin points out, Aubrey Edwards put out a little statement. It's sort of vague, so it's not, maybe it's implied, but it's not directly mentioning this. Quote, we're looking at the claims. There's obviously a lot. It's taking a bit of time. Hang tight. Now, he credited her as being female ref, which I thought was a little bit amusing, but just for scorekeeping purposes at home, that was Aubrey Edwards.
Well, she is. She is. That's a fact.
She is indeed a female referee. This is true.
She is, but I mean, the YouTube algorithm is very weird, man. You just don't know what it's going to pick up, how it's going to pick up, but again, you cannot monetize your videos and make money off of other people's production, dude. You can't. I don't agree with it. I know he's been going this long. Again, I know he's a long time running channel, but maybe don't monetize your videos. Sorry. Not on YouTube. Go somewhere else. Go to try Rumble. See what happens over there.
Sound like a threat. Like, go to Rumble, see what happens. I mean, I get what you're saying, though. And I mean, shit, you have a little bit of experience with this. They're not, and the monetization element of it, but you've mentioned before quite a few times how like one song will fucking get a copyright claim and one song won't, and it's just seemingly almost at random.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I don't monetize our videos, because I know if I monetize our videos, they're going to give me a copyright strike for some of the things we play. That's why I've been doing some of the the royalty-free songs in the beginning and as we're doing plugs and stuff, which I need to bring some more into the plugs. But and we're not getting copyright strikes. We're just getting, okay, you're going to be banned in a few countries. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we also don't try to make money off of anyone else's content. So
not yet. I haven't figured out how. When I do, and it's definitely in the works.
I mean, if I could figure out how, I would. But and again, I feel like I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I
need to do commentary over more successful podcasts. We just occasionally just start charging people to listen to us. Just occasionally talk over like Solid Monster or some shit. But like, that was a good point, Solid Monster, and then that's it.
Way to go. All right, put that on YouTube, monetize. There we go. Let's make some money. Make some money. But anyway, again, I know people may be surprised to hear that, but literally you just, don't make money on someone else's content. And I'm good. I'm good on that one. Smark, you also had a little Randy Orton one here, didn't you?
I sure did. I'll go ahead and bring that one up. It's from WrestlingNews.co. Randy Orton on not being comfortable with the Eddie is in Hell storyline. His favorite WrestleMania moment working with Kurt Angle. These are the various things that he talked about. He was on the Kurt Angle show on adfreeshows.com because everybody has a podcast these days. So anyways, he's talking about the Rey Mysterio. The one that I particularly wanted to bring up is the infamous sort of promo that he did with Rey Mysterio after Eddie Guerrero's death, and I'm going to go ahead and find that here. I already have the thing up, but I'm trying to just be able to skip right to it because there's actually a lot here. But anyways, fucking all right, well that's not gonna work. Anyway, so we'll just go ahead and read it. Randy Orton was asked to give his recollection of his triple threat match with Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania 22. Quote, I do remember that they were going with me. This WrestleMania was after Triple H and Batista. I think prior to that, I was supposed to be with Triple H and do the big story going into Mania, and I had messed up somewhere along the lines. I think now my punishment was over with, and they were ready to go with me again. I want to say they were running with me, and they were going to put the title on me for this triple threat. I could be wrong, but that was my memory anyway. I think I got a little bit of heat for some young dumb punk shit that I did, and I think they ended up going with Ray, right? But the recollection of the exacts back then are hard to really put out. I do know 2006 was a rough year for me personally. So that was in the middle of all that too. There's a good reason why I don't remember that year too much, but I remember the match. I remember not having a lot of time for the match. It might have started at 20 or 18 minutes, and by the time, like every WrestleMania, by the time we got to our match, I think we had lost at least half of that. The actual in-ring couldn't have been more than 10 minutes, if I remember correctly. So there you go. You had mentioned Molly Holly talking about her matches getting cut. And so Angle goes on to ask Orton, how weird was it doing the angle and getting heat off the late great Eddie Guerrero with Rey Mysterio? Did you find it a little odd to do, or were you comfortable with it? Orton said, quote, 100% not comfortable with it. Ray assured me that it was something that Eddie would have wanted. Even still, Ray and myself went to Vicky, and Vicky gave us her blessing. She said the same thing, quote, Eddie would have wanted to help you guys in this manner. If he could have used his death in some way to help the business, as morbid as that sounds, he would have wanted us to do it, especially with Ray being involved. So although it was a horrible tragedy and we lost a friend, it was something that helped me along the way in my career, which sounds really bad to say. Anyways, as a bad guy talking about that's heat. It worked and it helped with the angle between me and Ray. But looking back, it will always be something that was there's a lot of things I could have done in my career that made me uncomfortable. I think we can all agree on that, but that in particular was something that I put at the top of that list.
Yeah, I think that was uncomfortable for a lot of people. A lot of people. Even me. I didn't like that whole thing. And I really thought let's face it, they exploited Rey Mysterio for that storyline. They exploited a lot of people for that storyline. Now, the one thing that I pulled out of that article, which you may find strange, was there's a good reason why I don't remember that year too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. I mean, he didn't really elaborate on that. So you're kind of left. I did notice that as I was reading that, because he kind of said it like, "Oh, you guys all know." It's like, no, do we? Do we all know what that reason is? Like, you're leaving a lot up to our imagination, sir.
I think that was the year he had a couple of violations, Mark.
I see. He took himself a couple of shots, and there was no alcohol involved.
Of the old wellness policy, if you know what I'm talking about.
And they retold it just so it could fit him. I do remember that.
Yeah, I think that's during right around that time. But, again, that was an uncomfortable thing. Again, I felt they exploited Rey Mysterio, making him heavyweight champion during that. I see what Vicky was saying. If Eddie, obviously, and I'm sure they took that as a blessing to do the story, to say what they said and do this and go through with the storyline. But it still just seems wrong. But it's wrestling, and I would never expect them to waste a good tragedy. I really don't like putting it that way, but as a wrestling fan, have they ever wasted a good tragedy?
Not that I can remember. I mean, even as far as you can even look at like national tragedies and disasters, like there was that WrestleMania, or not the WrestleMania, there was a SmackDown edition of right after 9/11. And you had everybody was being real cool and being real respectful, but Stephanie kind of cut this weird promo how she compared 9/11 to her family being investigated by the feds for the fucking steroid trials, and it's like, what are you doing? No, not the time for this. Fucking smack your hand, roll up the newspaper, but pop you on the snout for that. This is not the time for that. A lot of people have died, and a lot of things are really fucked up right now. This is not the time to play the victim.
I remember that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. But again, there was a lot for WWE exploiting people is no surprise to me. It's not something that I'm going to be like, wow, I can't believe they did this. No, it's what they do. And again, I feel like when, as Randy was saying this, that, Vicky, and he says it right there, Vicky gave us her blessing.
Mm-hmm.
That was as close as you could get to Eddie saying it was okay, I guess. Who knows if he would have been good with the storyline? I do have a feeling he probably would have been fine with it. Just a feeling. Again, I don't know, but just a feeling.
We've seen things like this before. Because the one that kind of jumped, not before, I guess, in terms of chronologically speaking, but just as a matter of comparison, that whole, when Paul Bearer passed away during that CM Punk Undertaker feud, and you had CM Punk coming out with the urn and doing the, Paul Bearer voice and all of that, sort of tried to get heat. And I remember there were people that were upset about that too, but then you also had the whole, God, I forget who she was feuding with at the time, but when Jim Neidhart passed away with Natalia, they used him quite a bit to sort of get heat for that angle too. So it's it happens. There's precedent for it, of course, but it does become a little bit weird and creepy sometimes.
That was Sasha saying that Jim is in hell to Natty, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, okay, yeah, probably.
I'm 90% sure that was her.
Sounds right.
10% of me is taking shots and not remembering anything.
Well, this might be a matter of semantics, but Luke is asking if there's such thing as a good tragedy. Because you said that they do not waste a good tragedy.
A good tragedy. Well, that's just obviously I'm being sarcastic.
Fine, I'll say it. Those people in the Hindenburg, they fucking deserved it. They had it coming.
Obviously, I'm being, kind of, what would that word? Hyperbolic, I believe, is the word you would use for that. But
those damn yuppies in their Titanic, that'll show them.
But if you really want a good tragedy, a pedophile dying, that's a good tragedy. How's that?
Sure.
I have no tolerance for anyone who hurts children, so I'll just leave it at that. All right. You got any more on this? Or now, I kind of feel it was just killed by that, but...
No, on this particular story, no. It is good to know that, they at least took the time out to consult his wife and to sort of think about what it was that they were doing. They didn't just haphazardly rush this out here without, giving it actual thought and weighing the potential consequences. So that's at least a positive.
Right. Yeah. And you're Luke, you're right. A pedophile dying is not a tragedy. I'm just again, hyperbolic. My God, stop being. Listen here, literal Luke.
A lot of people were upset that Michael Jackson died.
Fucking literal Luke.
Oh, literal Luke, we calls him.
Actually, I think today in 1983, "Beat It" might have been the number, like, hit the number one Billboard. Speaking of Michael Jackson.
Fucking look here. I'll go ahead and do a quick Google search on this.
Speaking of Michael Jackson, and 1983 was the same year we got to see the first moonwalk. And I do mean the Michael Jackson moonwalk when he was doing Billie Jean.
Now, when you say today, do you mean the 30th?
Yes.
Just for
yes.
the top hit.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
1983?
It's tomorrow where you are and where most people are. And I'm just odd here in the Central Time. I really feel like we're on like a weird little time travel thing here in Central Time.
Okay, so I'm not gonna. I found 40. I found 40 singles for that week. I won't read all 40 because the bit would run on too long and it would stop being funny, which is actually a reason to do it. But anyways, I'll go ahead and do a top 10 list. I'll leave you on ice here and see if you got it right or not. Number 10, "Little Red Corvette" by Prince.
Oh yeah.
Number 9, "Overkill" by Men at Work. I like that song.
Oh yeah, I like Men at Work actually. Very good, good song.
Number 8, "She Blinded Me with Science," Thomas Dolby. I don't like that song.
I do. I like the old Tom. Actually, his last name was for the Dolby sound system back then. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And this is just as a little bit of extra clarity. This is for the week ending April 30th, 1983. So this is this entire week. Let's see. I was at "She Blinded Me with Science." Number 7, "Billie Jean" by Michael Jackson.
Uh-huh.
Number 6, "Let's Dance," David Bowie.
Oh, love me some Bowie.
Number 5, "Dear Commissar," After the Fire.
Ha ha!
Why did I not do this? I already dropped the ball with this. Why did I not use the Casey Kasem voice? Number 4, "Mr. Roboto" by Styx.
Ah, one of my son's favorites. One of my older son's favorites. Loves some Styx. Go ahead.
There you go. Number 3, I've actually never heard of this song. "Jeopardy" by the Greg Kihn Band.
Oh yeah, you've heard it. My love's in jeopardy, baby. What's his name? Weird Al actually parodied the song for a song called "I Lost on Jeopardy." There you go.
But I still don't. I honestly don't think because I heard you sing the chorus and it just doesn't sound familiar. I'm gonna have to listen to it later.
All right.
But anyways, number 2, I have heard this song, "Come on Eileen" by Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Oh yeah, those guys were in that. Dexy was literally a drug they were doing back in the 80s. Keep going.
Those zany kids and their rock and roll.
Yeah.
All right, so we've come to the moment of truth. This is number 1. Drum roll. Number 1, "Beat It" by Michael Jackson. You were right, sir.
There we go. And I believe it lasted 3 weeks at number 1, which back then was huge because, boy, in the 80s, the one-hit wonders were absolutely insane.
It was a way more experimental time in music. I always appreciate that. Like 80s and 90s. Nowadays, I was hearing somebody in the music industry actually talk about it. The fact that just people don't buy music as much as they used to, obviously, understandably so. Record companies can't afford to take the risks that they used to take in the 80s and 90s, so now they have to go with the certain things that they know are a little bit more likely to make money based on the sort of formulas that they followed in the past.
Right.
So you get less people like fucking Devo or whatever, and you get more of just the regular run-of-the-mill fucking pop music that's all over the place.
Did you just take a jab at Devo?
No, I said you get less stuff like Devo that's experimental, more like less unconventional music. I would say that they're unconventional. I like them.
I'll make sure.
But I'm saying you get less unproven commodities that are just like kind of out there and weird. Less Devo, less Frank Zappa, that kind of thing.
Just want to make sure you didn't shit on Devo. Otherwise, you, sir, can whip it. Whip it good.
Well, maybe later. I mean, you never know what the night may hold.
Shit. Break your mama's back. All right. Let's go ahead. get into this little last thing we have here. Again, it's not some huge story, but I figured we talked about some strange things tonight. Let's just go ahead and end on something. Chelsea Green, I'm not sure where this came from, but she put out something on some of the gimmicks that she pitched that they said no to when she was going through. I got to tell you, if all true, again, at least she was trying to do something to get out there, giving them ideas, and it doesn't seem like they gave a shit. The first one, Smart. Let's just go ahead and go through this. The Daisy Duke character, obviously from Dukes of Hazzard. I assumed she was going to wear short shorts out there, and I'm not sure what else. I mean, is she going to talk on a CB? I hate to say, but they have someone kind of like that. Her name was, at the time, Lacey Evans.
Mm-hmm. Definitely sounds like I was watching a little bit of Glow earlier, and that definitely seems like it'd be right up their alley. Like, I don't know what her actual vision was for this character, but the way that you're like painting it out, it makes it definitely seem like it was very much a niche 80s thing that she was trying to go for.
Yeah.
I guess 70s would be Dukes of Hazzard, huh?
Well, 70s, 80s. I
Okay.
think Dukes of Hazzard might have started in 1978 and rolled through the 80s. I could be wrong. If you want to IMDb that and correct me, I would not be opposed to that. But I mean, all Daisy Duke, there's a shorts named after her, Daisy Dukes.
79 through 85.
79, I was a year off. All right. I thought it was 78. Okay, 79. There you go. There you go. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. 1 year off. But, so it was still an 80s show. I mean, 79, whatever. That means it was recorded in 78, so maybe I'm right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. That's how that shit works.
Oh, that's arguing bullshit, trying to make myself right. I'm kidding. I'm joking. But yeah, there's really not a lot of depth to a character like that. I hate to say.
No.
There's just not. But again, I appreciate her that she's out there trying to figure something out. The next one, Mark, was a sexy nun for Seth Rollins, the Messiah cult gimmick. I would compare that to Alexa Bliss right now, kind of doing the same little thing.
I wouldn't mind that. But my God, the firestorm of controversy that would create. It's like, because if anybody has a good sense of humor about things, it's the old Catholic Church.
Yeah, that would not have gone over well. And I think that would have that people already, compared this whole Seth Rollins character with the old, the Straight Edge Society gimmick and CM Punk. I think this would have just more solidified those comparisons and, oh, look what they're copying, blah blah blah. But look, I'm fine with it. I'm down with sexy nuns. But let's go ahead and move on here. I got three more actually. Dominic Mysterio's girlfriend.
Can we actually stay on this for 1 second?
Sure.
I was actually just thinking about that. I'm not going to take any more pop shots at the Catholic Church. But what I was thinking was you were talking about the Aleister Black character and, like, how does this character wrestle? I was saying, what does this character cut promos about? What would be the motivation? You did say pairing her up with Seth Rollins. But what would be the motivation for a sexy nun to want to become a wrestler? Like, what would be her goal for entering the WWE?
I don't have an answer.
Because, like, he was the Nacho Libre. Like, he was the Nacho Libre character. Like, I think he was a Catholic. I think he was involved he was like a religious guy. And he wanted to raise money for the monastery, I believe, was the point of the movie. So, like, okay, that makes sense, I guess. But would that be the point of the sexy nun character?
Why was Devon a deacon?
This is true.
I really got no answer for you, brother. You got me a little stumped there.
I just thought about that as you were transitioning, and I was like, you know what? I don't really want to cut you off, but I'm really curious about what the motivation for her character becoming a wrestler would be.
Yeah,
but I mean, never really got a reason as to why Doink the Clown wanted to be a wrestler, or the Big Boss Man wanted to be a wrestler. So
yeah, I mean, I could try to come up with a bullshit, but I can't even come up with something to even attempt to be devil's advocate and argue here. So, I don't know. Kind of glad that didn't go through at this point. Dominic Mysterio's girlfriend. Just no. Just no. I mean, literally, I got nothing else. Just no.
That would actually have been kind of the inverse of the Buddy Murphy, Leah Mysterio thing. Because depending on when she is, I believe she's 30 right now. And like Dominic, I believe, is in his early 20s. So it'd be kind of the same thing. Not exactly the same thing, but it would be sort of in that line of somebody that's a little bit older versus somebody that's younger. And like potentially being a little bit awkward and uncomfortable in that regard.
Yeah, unnecessary. Just no. Just no.
Mm-hmm.
A little more water here. Now, this one just seems recycled, and I'm probably thinking that's why they didn't do it. She was going to be a Mickie James hardcore fan or stalker, as Mickie James was to Trish Stratus at one point.
That's not so bad, honestly.
It's not a gimmick that could roll in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, because there was kind of occasionally some dark implications to that character, and then some pretty racy and provocative things that she would do from time to time. But I like it from the standpoint of it just being kind of a cyclical thing, that's how she got her start, and now towards the end of her career, she's being, the one that's being stalked by this crazy fan. But at the same time, that works for a feud with Mickie James. What else does that work for? Like, I mean, I know devil's advocate to that was, what else does, The Undertaker's brother, what does that character do after he stops feuding with The Undertaker? And there was a really big shelf life on Kane, so it's like, whatever, it's proven that it could work, but at the same time, it's like, well, what does she do after she gets done feuding with Trish? Or with Mickie?
Yeah, with Mickie. Nothing. But, and the last one, which I actually think might have been the best one and worked the most out of any of these, Triconic, putting her as the third member of the Iconics, which would include having a fake Australian accent, and she was going to be there to try to split up the Iconics. Triconic. Out of all of these, this is the one that I think probably would have been the most workable of any of them. Thank God it didn't happen. And it even says that Vince declined some of these, and also Chelsea declined some of these herself. But this one here, I think, might not have been the worst one.
No, I mean, yeah, it did have to deal with the Iconics, which, as I've said, with them as a group, is fucking incredibly intolerable for me anyway. I like them both like as solo acts, but as a group, I found them to be just incredibly annoying. But like you said, this is the most doable because it's not something that's like incredibly offensive or potentially like, not suitable for today's viewership. So that would be the most possible one to do.
Yeah, I think it's the probably the better out of every one of these. So I don't know. That was it. But I'm glad a lot of these didn't go through. And like I said, I just kind of wanted to end on a high note, if you will.
Well, in addition to that, and this will keep in the same vein. This won't get dark. But since you brought up ridiculous wrestler pitches, there was one that Sean Ross Sapp put out earlier that said, favorite ridiculous pitch that I heard a wrestler make. Justin Gabriel pitched Adam Rose's bunny develop into a hardcore wrestler and would go through tables, constantly be drinking and taking crazy spots. They'd find him backstage passed out. Vince McMahon under the mask.
I love it.
I mean, that does sound fucking ridiculous, but I'm also all in on it. I would have loved that too.
I would have hated it as it went through, but I would have loved the ending.
Yeah, the payoff would have been great.
It would have been great payoff there. I can't deny that at all, man. But, yeah, I think on that note, though, we can go ahead and wrap this show up. This is one of our longer shows in a while. We haven't done over 2.5 hours in a while, and I think we're just a little bit over, if not right at 2.5 hours, probably 2:35. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, Smark. Let everybody get the weekend going so they can enjoy themselves. And if you really want to enjoy yourselves this weekend, check out the High Marks on Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right there. Cheese Man Mojo and G Wiz. Check them out on Mixler.com. So that's Metal Mitt Network. That's right, 2 T's in Mitt. And you definitely want to be checking out those guys right there. And, of course, Bobby Anthem, Bobby Blades, the Inhumans over there on the Inhuman Experience. Subscribe, binge listen. You know you want to do it. Why are you not doing it? Don't stop yourself. Please. Just let it go. Let it flow. Let it roll. And, of course, the Everything Unscripted Wrestling podcast. Once again, I will be there Saturday. Right there, right around, like I said, right around 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And I will be over there hosting, settling in the ring. So I will be settling in the ring. And basically, I'm Big John McCarthy for that one right there. Smart.
Hey.
There you go.
I like it.
I'm John McCarthy for that one right there. And you can get them over there on Blog Talk Radio. Just start typing in Everything Unscripted Wrestling. They will pop up before you're done. And Stephen Milan sharing the show. Much appreciated. Find him over there reviewing movies. Letterboxd, BOXD.com/Stephen Milan. Double those L's when you type Milan because there's 2 of them in there. And, of course, you can get us on Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Anchor, YouTube, Facebook, TuneIn, Player FM, Smart.
Yes, sir. Mondays, 8:30 on the Metal Mid Podcast Network. Be sure to listen to Cheese on Sports with Cheese Man with Luke Birch as well, Dirk as well, and G Wiz, the whole crew. You want to be listening to them as they talk about such things as Aaron Rodgers wanting out of Green Bay. Oh, it feels so good. Also, I believe that they're also going to be doing a little bit of a watch-along tomorrow for the UFC show. So go ahead and follow the Metal Mid Podcast Network to be kept up to date if that does indeed end up happening. I believe I would also be joining them, too. So there's that. And Sundays, 10:30 a.m. on the Metal Mid Podcast Network, again on the Mixler machine. You want to listen to the Mo Dirk City Machine Guns with Mojo, with Dirt, and last, never least, be sure to check out our friends at Planet Rack on Tour. That's the Planet Rack on Tour podcast with Bobby Anthem, Papa Dave Sincere, and Yuck Nasty. All 16 episodes are available for your listening pleasure. And be sure to subscribe for season 2, which is coming soon. Also, a little bit of a note, Papa Dave was joined us on the watch-along party for the draft yesterday. He popped in the Mixler chat, so he seems to be doing a little bit better.
Awesome.
It's always good to hear.
Definitely good to hear, man. That's awesome right there. So there you go. Season 2 coming for you.
That's right.
All right. And, of course, everybody, listen to the show however you do. Chat room, you are so appreciated. I can't even put into words how appreciative I am that you guys take time to listen to us. Any way you listen to us, it is greatly appreciated. We will be back here Wednesday. Enjoy the weekend. Hope you enjoyed the show. Smart. See you.